Okie dokie, we're here, one of our favorite customers' houses, and we put in 4 wicking beds on the back side of the house. And I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Michael Gettins. Mikey,
Howdy.
tell me the basics of the wicking bed. Why would someone want to use a wicking bed, and what is a wicking bed, I guess, for anyone who doesn't know?
So a wicking bed is a container garden that has a reservoir of water at the bottom that can wick up water to the plants when the plants need it. So it's pretty much the best way to, if you want to grow in a container, which has its advantages in a desert, to keep weeds out. Mm-hmm. But it's gonna evaporate a lot of water being above ground. So this is a way that you can make sure that your containers never dry out. You don't need to water them as often because it does have water stored underneath the soil.
Okay. So again, where can you show us exactly where the water's going in? Where it's not coming in on the top, so the point is we're putting the water on the bottom, right?
Yeah, so there's a fill pipe right here, and your garden hose goes right into that. So it's connected into the reservoir underneath, fills up the bottom, and then there's a layer of sand on top of that. And sand, if you've ever seen sand get wet, it's kind of like a paper towel, and the water will wick through the sand around this whole base underneath the soil, and then it'll have contact with the soil. And because there's a high percentage of organic material in this soil, the plants can draw up that water as they need it.
And one of the major benefits is evaporation, correct? I mean, so many plants lose a lot of water. Not just the plants, but just humans lose a lot of water when we surface water, when we just throw the water out here. Much of it, before it even can be absorbed by the plants, is going up to the old sun in the sky. So that's pretty sweet benefit. Now, how do you separate the water storage area on the very bottom from then the next layer, the sand, and then the next layer, the soil, the topsoil?
Let's go look at the bones of the wicking bed to get a better idea of what's underneath. So right here we have a plastic pallet, shipping pallet that's been cut to size to fit in here. And that's going to give us the structure for our tank. We're pretty much creating a tank underneath the soil here. So this has it creates a void space underneath. So we're going to put landscape fabric on top of this and then tuck it in around, and then the sand will be able to sit on top of the fabric. It's gonna be able to fill in around the edges, and we're gonna have a little container here which gives us our wicking points. So the sand will go actually to the bottom in certain areas, so that even when the water level is low, it has an area for to get up, wick up the sand, and then spread out over the base of the soil.
Right. Now, again, we talked about how this is our fill pipe. You know, put the hose in there. It's just a pipe, and then the water will come down and start filling up. Now, how though do you prevent it from just going way too high? What's the
So
contraption
you can see on this one
that you made? Oh, an overflow.
We drilled a hole in it right here, and it's not quite at the bottom, but pretty low. And then we have this elbow, which brings it a little bit higher. So
about how many inches up do you come? Like how tall then will be the water part of it?
The water part of it ends up being about 9 inches or so.
Okay.
9 inches high, and then that's across the whole width of the bed. So having an elbow here is pretty cool because it swivels, so you can actually change the level of the water from the highest point. You can drain it, and what's cool about it is you realize your bed is full when this overflows, and you can actually see it. We'll go over to this one. So let's fill this one up real quick. And you can actually see over here at the overflow, I can see the water rising in the overflow, and that's how you know it's full.
Yep, there it comes, and if
I turn it off just perfect, there's the water level.
Damn, it's right there at the tippy top. If you kept that going, it would overflow.
So that's your water level in your tank right there.
It's awesome. And these, again, the major benefit of these is they can, as long as there's water in the tank underneath and it's not getting evaporated because it's under there, these plants can just be pulling water at all times.
When they need it.
When they need it.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. And you get so much less evaporation. And we're not trying to say it just takes care of itself, because you do got to make sure that the reservoir underneath has water in it. Otherwise it won't do it. But as long as there's water underneath, it's kind of a self-watering system. Yep. Which is pretty incredible. And can you, real quick, can you explain what are we using here? These IBC totes? Or?
Yeah, so this is 2 IBC totes,
Mm-hmm.
275-gallon totes that have been cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates, whatever half 275
Mm-hmm.
is. That's the size of each bed. And they're food grade potable water storage tanks.
Okay.
That it lasts some years, especially if you paint them or protect them with some kind of wooden structure around it.
Right.
They'll last like around 10 years or so.
Yep. Yeah, they're not the prettiest things, a bit industrial, if you will, but they're very effective. They hold the water really well. It's a big plastic, container in a sense. You can easily cut into it to cut in the overflows, and then you can use all sorts of different stuff from plantings, or like you said, some wood or some blocks to kind of pretty them up, kind of cover them up, and also protect them from the sun so they last longer. But
this is not the only way to make a wicking bed. You can make it out of a lot of different materials,
right,
from the container itself to what you're using to make your reservoir.
Yep.
So many different ways to get creative about it. And so this is the way you want to be gardening. If you're going to do raised planters or raised containers, this is the way to do it, so that you don't have to water 1, 2, 3 times a day in the summer. You're only watering like 2 to 3 times a week in the summer.
Yep.
So it really cuts down on how much time you're going to be watering in the summer.
yeah, it's pretty sweet. Wicking beds, here they are. If you got any questions, let us know. Maybe we'll come over and do it for you if you got the cheddar for it. If not, we'll help you figure it out and do it yourself. Thanks, Mikey.
Cheddar mozzarella.